everybody. I am still like totally geeked out about these Motivational Mondays. Thank you so much for joining me. If you guys have never checked out a Motivational Monday just yet, I want to introduce myself. My name is Lauryn Laszczak. I live here in Michigan with my two girls and my husband. I actually married my high school sweetheart. We're currently building a real estate business together, and then for over a year now, I've also been building a beauty business. So that's really where the idea for these Motivational Mondays started. I talk to a lot of women having this business, and realistically, it's always the same conversation. So, it doesn't matter if I'm talking to somebody who wants to start a business. I see people jumping in. Hi guys. Hi Erin. Anyways, if it's someone who wants to start a business, someone who wants to run a business full-time, or someone who is running a business full-time, but it's just getting the best of them. No matter what, there's always the same theme, which is basically we all have the same fears, we all have the same sort of aspirations. It doesn't matter if you are a real estate agent, if you are running a beauty business, or our guest today has nothing to do with either of those. I'm going to introduce her, and we still all have the same conversation. So I just think it's so important for us to share these conversations, and hopefully, the more empowered we become, the more we empower other women around us. So that's really where the idea for these Motivational Mondays started, and I'm very, very excited today to introduce for episode 2. My guest today is Erin Saba. I'm going to go ahead and add Erin to this conversation. She is a total boss babe, total package. She basically turned her passion for health and fitness into a business. So I'm excited for you guys to meet her. So let me go ahead and pop her on here. Yes. Hopefully we don't lose you. Hi!
Hey!
The moment someone else appears on the screen, I'm like, oh, thank you.
It worked.
It worked. Yay! Thank you so much for joining me, Erin. You'll start to see like people popping on. Totally up to you if you want to say hello or not, but we'll kind of stay in the game here. And then for anybody watching, if you have questions, please ask them, and when we're done, we'll kind of circle back around and we'll answer them. So
awesome.
So yay! Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yay. Why don't you go ahead and just start off, just tell us kind of who you are, and for anybody who doesn't know you online, which I should totally share, Erin and I had like a 10-minute conversation before jumping on, and this is the first time we've ever met. So I feel like that's cool, because I'm like, everything I would want to know about you, I'm going to learn along with everybody else.
Right.
So.
I'm just making sure my phone's on Do Not Disturb.
I know. I just got a phone call, and I just told you to do that, and I didn't do it myself.
Whoops. It's okay.
Hey, running businesses.
Okay, so I am Erin Saba, as she had mentioned. I am a fitness studio co-owner. So I own Ohana Fitness and Wellness with Samantha Lazarus. It's in Shelby Township. And I also am a Beachbody coach, a wife, and a new mom. So I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats, and I'm super excited to just share, some inside scoop on how I do it all, I guess.
I love it. I feel like we all have a lot of balls in the air all the time. So it's nice to know that like we're not the only ones. Awesome. Well, I love that that's where you're at now. And I feel like a lot of times, thanks to Facebook and social media, we see ourselves, we see other women running businesses or doing what their passion is. But as soon as we see that and it's like not reflected right back at us, we're kind of like if we don't see ourselves in it, we're like, man, how do they do it? Blah, blah, blah. But you don't realize, like you saying that little caption about yourself, that's your middle. It's not your start. And we can't like compare ourselves to everybody's start. So take us back.
Absolutely. And I just want to chime in and say, all you see behind me is this nice, like normal screen. But what you don't see is all the laundry baskets and the toys and the mess that I'm surrounded with. So
yeah.
just know that even if you're looking at social media and somebody has like an amazing feed or something that you're kind of jealous about, you never really know what's going on behind closed doors. So just wanted to say that because I found a lot of times too, especially in this business, and you're constantly looking, if you're in a network marketing business yourself, like you're constantly looking at other leaders in the industry that you're in, or somebody that you kind of look up to or mentor. And, you know, you look at their highlight reel. So like that's what we portray on social media. And I try and do a good job of sharing like the ugly with, you know, the honest and, you know,
Yes.
good stuff, the good images, and all of that too. Because I think what a lot of people miss with social media is just like the honesty, you know?
100%.
So I think that it's super important if you are in this kind of industry, just to make sure that you're always being real and just showcasing some of that negative too, because it's there.
Oh, hell yeah. That's why I preach, like, y'all know I can't do this without my concealer. Like, I don't look like that in photos.
No, I got a full face on. I did my hair. I showered for you guys. And I have one of those really nice lights.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why it like puts a glow. Anyway, all right, so going back to who I started out as. So I've always been somebody who's been like super passionate about health and fitness. And ever since I struggled as an adolescent with the eating disorder, it was just something that I became, I don't want to say obsessed with, but I became, you know, very interested in how to turn my negative from having an eating disorder into something positive, to where I was continually educating myself on how to live a healthy life. Because a lot of times that those kinds of illnesses and things can consume your life. So I started diving into education, and I was going to at CMU at the time, and I was like, I wanted to go into nutrition, and everybody was like, no, don't do that, you won't make any money at all. And if you're in the fitness industry, I know you can relate to this. You do not get into the fitness industry to make money. That is like not the goal. And owning a brick and mortar business is not always glamorous. Okay. So I will get into that later, but it's one of those things that like I tried to turn a negative into a positive, because it was something that I was truly passionate about. I knew that this is where I wanted to go, but I transitioned into a full-time position where I graduated college with public health promotion, health education, and then I had a minor in professional sales, which is like two totally, you know,
really
things. But I knew I wanted to do something in the health industry, and I did not end up in that. I started waitressing after I quit my job that I absolutely hated, my full-time, you know, steady income in sales. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not a salesperson. I hate it. I literally would get anxiety going to work every day. And, you know, so I just started waitressing instead. I quit my job and just gave it all up. Then I started working for my father-in-law, which, well, now he's my father-in-law. I did know him before I met my husband. Like, I met my husband and then started working for his dad. It wasn't like I met my husband through his dad. And then, you know, I was teaching fitness classes and working like crazy. And then I met Sam, my business partner now, and I started working for her. And now it's like transitioned into this big thing where we started working and collaborating on things and projects like the little black dress we made. And we did like a nutrition 101 class. And we just started like collaborating on projects, and then it turned into her inviting me to join her in partnership with Ohana. And within all that time, I became a Beachbody coach also. So it's just like this huge whirlwind that like I was going in like so many different directions, but like it's ended me up to the place that I am now, which is just like this beautiful, crazy life that I live, and I get to do what I love every single day.
That is amazing. First of all,
I had like a lot of so many different things. So like,
I feel like though, the more women I meet, when you business owners have that a lot of times in common, because we all know we kind of know what we want, but we don't know what the vehicle is going to be that's going to get us there. So, but then we're like, well, let's jump in every vehicle,
yeah.
to try to figure out which one is going to work. Like, which one's going to be the one that you're like, oh my God, I feel like this is finally the thing.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So like every single opportunity that I've ever had, I never looked at it as a negative, of course, but like it's gotten me to the next step, if that makes sense. So like every opportunity that I had led me into meeting somebody else or networking with somebody else, and then having these opportunities to where, I'm on the call today talking to you, which, we're just meeting today for the first time.
Exactly. Well, there's something when you were telling your story I was curious about. So when you said that you joined up with Sam, what year was that? Like, how long it's funny because I feel like I already know you because of our social media. And to be honest, I don't even know how we became friends, like on Facebook. It just happens somehow. So I kind of feel like I know you, but I don't know like this time frame. So when did you meet Sam? And when she was like, join me or whatever, like, how did you find the courage to do that?
Oh, that's such a good question. So at the time I was engaged. No, I wasn't even engaged to, no, yes, I was. I was engaged to Jake. We were living in our house that we're living in now. And I was working at 2 other fitness studios. And then I saw that Sam, we were mutual friends. We literally have like thousands of people in common, friends, mutual friends. Facebook. So to say that our relationship started on social media, it really did. So I joke and I say we met on Tinder and I swiped to get to know her more. We never met in person. I was following her on social media, and her studio at the time was right by where we were living. So I was like, you know what, I would love to like partner up with her, but I'm just going to support her in her business venture now. So she had a grand opening of the studio that she had at the time, and I couldn't attend because I was teaching at another studio. And then I ended up going to one of her classes, and she was like, if you ever wanted to instruct, I'd love to have like a bar type class at my studio. And it was like a 400 square foot studio. It was like super small. And I was like, sure, like, I love what you're doing. I love what you're all about. So I'm totally in for that.
And you were already a Beachbody coach at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
So we met through social media. I started working for her. I taught bar classes at her studio, and then we started like collaborating on projects. The more and more we got to know each other, we started to realize, we have a lot of the same, like goals in life, to where we wanted to help more people and reach more people. And in order to do that, we thought like starting these sort of like educational style programs, which we did, like a food 101 was the first one, was like our key to start like collaborating and doing things together. So then like from there, we started working on the little black dress, and we were like, okay, there's, something missing in the fitness industry. We need to pair up nutrition and fitness and just make it so it's like easy for people to understand and easy for people to follow, and something to where we support women and just like build a community. And then so that's where Little Black Dress started. And then at the time with Little Black Dress, she started growing as a studio owner because we were bringing in all these people for Little Black Dress. And she's like, I need a bigger space. So that's when she was like, I can't imagine not doing this with you. Have you ever considered, like opening up a gym? And I was like, yeah, I've considered it, but I don't want to do it alone because it's terrifying.
Yeah.
So then like we started talking, and I sat Jake down and was like, I didn't even ask my parents at this time. And I just wanted to talk to him because I knew that, you know, we were eventually going to get married. And I was like, basically, do you have my back? And like,
so great that you guys had that conversation though. Like,
because for me personally, like, it's just the type of person I am. I need like the closest people like to me. I need them to say like, yes, because it just makes it easier for me, you know, to make the decision or make the leap, because I knew financially, if I was like going to quit my job, I needed his help, which he was there for me, you know? So then I got his okay. I brought it up to my parents, and my mom's like, I remember this because it was like such a crucial point. And she was like, you know what? I think it's time. Because I had such a following from Beachbody and from all the fitness studios I was working at and instructing. It was like people were starting to follow me places. And she's like, you know, I really think it's time for you to do this. What's the worst thing? You know?
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is so important to have someone who's like cheering you on. And it is true. Like, what is the word? Sometimes I actually say to my husband, like building these two businesses together, I'll be like, all right, like my biggest fear is X. And then we'll talk through it. And literally by the end of the conversation, he's like, so we're back where we started. Like we would just figure it out. Like, that's what you do. You just keep figuring it out.
Yes.
But it's important to have those conversations. So like mentally you're prepared. Someone's got your back. You can't do it alone. None of us can do any of this alone.
No. And that's the thing that's been like, so like almost like a relief, is that I do have Sam. And even in my Beachbody business, she's been like a crucial like mentor and somebody that's continually like supporting me. Like it's like, obviously we're running individual businesses with Beachbody, but like we run our team together, and then it just coincides with the relationship that we have for our brick and mortar business, and they all like play off of each other because we can use Beachbody products and programs to reach more people that we wouldn't be able to do so otherwise. So it's even like making it so we can reach more people and help more people, which is like our overall goal. You know, we can only reach so many people locally in the Shelby Township area. People won't even drive to our studio from Chesterfield, which is where I live. You know, they're like, it's
too far.
Yeah. So if people aren't going to drive, 30, 40 minutes, then how else can we reach them? And so we use Beachbody in order to, help us be able to do that.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I have two things that I feel like are rolling through my mind right now. It's like going crazy up there. Number one is when you were saying, when you and your mom had that conversation and you were like, you felt like it was time, you had a decent following. I hear that like two ways. So a part of my brain is like, okay, if I'm somebody watching this and I'm like, crap, I don't have any kind of following, I'm just starting out, like that gets really intimidating to hear, because you immediately feel like I'm not far enough to do X, or I'm not in the spot to start. So then you just don't start. Like that's what I've met so many women who love what I'm doing and they get really excited, but they never start. Like that is like number one, like problem number one.
Yes.
So I guess I guess my question is, what would be your advice? Like if you could think back to Erin then, right? Like how did you just get that courage to just start? So, cause you got to start to create the following somehow. You can't just wait for the following. Do you know what I mean?
Right. No. So the thing with me is that I love getting myself out of my comfort zone, but at the same time, like obviously I'm scared. So the one thing that's like truly helped me in order to make these big steps that I know that I have to take is just to like believe in myself and believe in the journey that I'm on. So I know that way back then, like I had no clue like what I know now, and I am continuing every single day. So I think just with or without the following that I had, and saying I had a following was like maybe like 50 people coming and going from my classes. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like thousands of Facebook followers and all of that. Like I don't even have a business page for myself. So just having those key people in my life say like, Erin, like you need to do this. This is like what you were meant to be, or and this is what you were destined to do. Like have those people that support in your life to where they're going to push you to do the things that maybe you wouldn't do alone.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That is huge. And you know what, the other part of it, and I know I've had to go through this myself, and I'm curious about if you have, but when you're trying to find those people, it's because we all know it's so like, have you ever heard you're most like the 5 people around you, you know? So when you're trying, which sometimes you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to find those people, you also have to let people go. And
Yeah.
that is like, that's hard, especially, you know, loved ones, family members. There are people that you have to say to yourself, is this person lifting me up or are they dragging me down? And like that is, it's hard to come to terms with. Like, have you had to go through that, sort of building this throughout this journey?
Yes. And side note, I'm like, I love fitness. I love eating healthy and taking care of myself. But my husband, if you look at like the closest 5 people to you, my husband eats chicken wings and drinks beer like no other and hates working out.
No. Yeah, that's hard too. That's like a whole nother.
Oh my God,
a whole other life.
Seriously, like I, you know what I mean? Like, don't always like take that with a grain of salt because yeah, you're gonna have those people in your life that are like that. But if truly somebody is not like pushing you to like say like I believe in you or like this is awesome what you're doing or just supporting your journey, yes, you do have to cut ties. And I was just talking about this Saturday. It's like a girl that I just met was like, oh, do you know this person from when you went to high school? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, who do you hang out with? And I'm like, honestly, like I work a lot.
My husband and Sam.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes you do, like your relationships might take a back seat if you're on this mission to like make an impact because you just don't have time to do the that you once did. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you have those goals, like you're gonna have to make other things a priority and that's okay too.
Right.
So hopefully your friends understand that maybe they're not going to see you every weekend and it's going to be like a once a month, once every other month, or you know, like something like but
and hopefully maybe it's just for a season, you know, like people always say that. It's kind of like when you first have a baby, you're like, sometimes I look at back at that first 6 months and I'm like, who was that person? Like I would not have wanted to be my friend, you know, because it's just, we have these seasons and we roll in them and usually we roll out of them, you know?
Yep, 100%. But it's just like if something in your life is like tugging at your heart and there's something that you want and something that you want to work for, like don't think about how many steps that you're going to have to take to get there and what you have to do and what you have to sacrifice. You have to think of it as like, I'm doing this because look at my future here. Look at this. Like this is going to be the most amazing thing ever. I'm going to have that big house. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have this life that I never had or never dreamt that I'd be able to have. So take those sacrifices as they come because no matter what, like think about that end goal that is like your big, hairy, scary goal. And then once you get there, it's going to be like, wow, like it was such a big journey, but it was so worth it.
100%. And then don't be surprised if it changes. Right? Like, you know, it's crazy because I can think back to all of the things that I've done and realistically, the parts of me that shine and all those things are all the same. Like it doesn't matter what the thing was, I was still, my strength that was there was still the thing that kind of like beams out of you or something. You start to realize the goals that you're working towards, they start to just evolve into something bigger. Like, I'm sure you feel this too. Like, even for me, when I started my beauty business, it was like, I want to sell products. Well, now I'm selling the product, but my mind frame is just totally different. Like, now it's like this huge empowering other women and like all the other great stuff, the fulfilling stuff behind it. And then that's what makes your business succeed. It's not like the thing you're selling or the fitness class, right? I mean, do you feel the same way?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So like I think of it this way, and I've heard this so many times, and I just love it. Is like, I am not Beachbody. I'm not a billboard for Beachbody or the products that we sell. I am not Ohana. Ohana is part of my life, and it's something that I promote, and it's like, and I know that it's like such a great space, and same thing with Beachbody, but like, you are not a billboard for a certain thing. It's,
Yes.
people buy you, you know, people buy the relationship, people buy you supporting them, people buy the accountability, or you know, the picture that you paint about how beautiful they're gonna look, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not necessarily like the product or like the studio, but like, it's more or less you, the customer service, the lifestyle that you're helping these people achieve.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, as you're trying to figure that out, you got to just keep having fun doing what you're doing, because then that's reflected in all of that, like everything you just said, which is why sometimes I'll talk to women and I'll be like, you know, even in my business, they'll be like, their problem is X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, the problem is not X, Y, and Z. The problem is your mindset around X, Y, and Z. Like, people are so scared to, I can't be salesy. I'm not a salesperson. You know, even said that in the beginning. And it's like, well, I'm not either. Like, I'm just here talking to people. Like, if I read a really great book, I'd go to you and I'd be like, Erin, this book is amazing. You have to read it. I'm selling you without selling you. You know, like, it's not a sales thing. It's enjoying what you're doing and wanting to share it with others.
Oh my gosh, 100%. So like, you truly believe in the product or whatever you're selling or whatever you're recommending, right? So like, you would want to make somebody's life better. Like, you don't necessarily, like, for the same thing for you, like, you're in network marketing. So we have an opportunity to help other women create this life that they never imagined possible by using these businesses or whatever in order to do that. It's not necessarily like sell. It's like, okay, so how can you change somebody's life today? Or what can you do to provide value to your followers? Or like,
yes,
something in your life that you can share with somebody to hopefully make their life a little bit better or easier or whatever it may be.
yeah, and you would do that with or without a business.
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
you would go to your sister or whoever and be like, this shake is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you need to drink it. You will look amazing if you drink it. And if you said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, give me that shake.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's just like shifting that mindset. But I really do feel like the more women I talk to, like, that is the issue, is that we're all so scared that we're not something in order to achieve something. Like, I'm not this way. I'm not that kind of person. Lauryn, I could never talk to someone on a live. I know people who will not go live, you know, and it's like, well, I'm not saying to have a business, you have to have my strengths. You got to play with your strengths, you know?
Absolutely. And Lord knows, like, I would have never imagined that I'd be like a public speaker or somebody that talks on a live video. Like, I'm introverted extrovert. So in certain situations, like, I'm out there, I'm like outgoing, but in others, like, I want to sit on my couch. I don't want to talk to anybody. And I'm like nervous and anxious and I'm sweaty, you know?
Yeah.
I had to make myself this way, and I did a lot of personal development and a lot of like mind training and, you know, reading and finding myself in order to be comfortable in these areas that I could have never imagined I would be good at, you know?
Yeah. I think it's that clarity. Like, you're always trying to work on how clear you are about who you are at this time in your life with this thing that you're doing, because those things are always going to change. Speaking of which, I know, you know, your beautiful daughter, you now have an 8-month-old.
Uh-huh.
How has that affected all of this?
It makes things a lot harder. You know, people with 2 kids and more, I'm like, oh my God, God bless your soul. I don't know how you do it. But it, for one, like, yes, it makes things more difficult. Having somebody like constantly relying on you and having somebody that you never had before. I was always able to do whatever I wanted with my schedule because I do have the availability to make my own schedule. But now I have to kind of work around her. And not saying that that's a bad thing, but that's just life. But it's also shifted my perspective and my drive to want to be better and want to work harder because I want to provide my daughter a life that, you know, I was never able to have. And like my mom recently told me about struggles that we have. She was a single mom, you know, raising us, and I was never aware of any of it. And it's just like in my adulthood, like it hurts my heart that my mom had to go through that stuff alone. And to know that she always did everything she could in order to provide for my sister and I, like, I don't know. It's just like something that's such a beautiful thing once you become a parent. Like, you want nothing more than to be the best or to be the greatest role model or to give your kid everything possible without like spoiling them. But that maybe you were never able or your parents were never able to give to you, you know?
100. And the things they did give to you, you know, like sometimes I feel like I started my business the month I had Gwen, my second, the month, like there couldn't have been worse timing. But to your point, I feel like that's because when you do have kids, it totally changes the game. Like if you can't do something for yourself, like you sure as hell can do it for your kids. And like you having a girl, I have 2 girls, it's like I'm constantly thinking like, okay, let alone for myself, what am I reflecting on my girls? Like in good and bad ways, because I'm not perfect and I do things and sometimes they're doing things where I'm like, oh crap, are they learning that from me? You know, but for the most part, it's positive and you're just trying to, I don't know, there's nothing more motivating than thinking if I do X, it'll get me this for my kids or these experiences with my family. And it's probably the best motivator I've ever had.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And like, I made a post and you read it and commented on it, but like, I was never a kid person. I never like, I didn't grow up being like, oh my God, I can't wait to be a mom. Like, that was never, I was more the person like, I'm really unsure if I want to have any kids. Like, and my husband and I even had a conversation and he was like, Erin, like, if you don't want kids, like we need to reevaluate our relationship because I really want to be a parent. And so like, but in saying that, like having a daughter has been, or a kid in general, it has been like the best thing that ever happened. And it was like the perfect timing. It was meant to be. It, you know, it just added so much value to my life that I didn't even realize I was missing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's funny because actually the other day my kids were, I'm so blessed that they're with the grandparents a lot. And they were with my mother-in-law and they ended up, Ronnie picked them up and they like went somewhere after, long story short, they didn't get home till like 7 or 8 or something. And at first I was like, oh yes, like I can just keep going. I can keep going and getting stuff done. And then like 7 o'clock's rolling around and I'm like, where is, first of all, where are my babies? Second of all, like, thank God I have those kids because they literally make me stop. Like sometimes I feel like I would never stop. And then I would probably end up exhausting myself or, you know, unmotivated because I'm not finding that time to just rest. Does that make sense? Oh, hopefully you guys are still there. I think Erin's paused on me. I'm not sure what this is going to do later. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can fix it. If you guys are there, oh, Erin's gone. If you guys are still there, oh, let me see here. I'm going to add her back 1 second.
Hi.
Hi.
I have no idea what just happened.
This is what happens when you have kids. You're like doing something and you just have to stop.
What the heck?
And then life goes on. Anyways, they stop us. we have to like kind of do this. We have to reconfigure, and then you keep going. But thank God we have them to kind of give us pause, give us a place to be like, all right, where do I stop and end with business? Because I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, you working from home, you can just keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I have to get better at setting like office hours, but one goal for me is that I'm present when she's around, 100% present, and then when she's not, I'm head down and getting stuff done.
Yeah.
Because you have to like make your own schedule to be able to like get it all in, because sometimes like your to-do list is so long, and mine right now is very overwhelming, and I could choose to be super anxious about the mess in my house and the laundry that I have to do and then everything on my to-do list. But instead, you just think of the time that you can set aside and just get it done, and maybe dedicate 3 hours, and then whatever else you don't get done, like tomorrow is there too. And that for me was like a huge relief for the person that I am. I love to-do lists, and I love like crossing things off and sure that I get everything done. But when it gets so overwhelming, I shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to like give yourself some grace and just be like, okay, so this is the stuff I need to get done. Okay, so what are my priority items that need to be done today, or else the house is going to go up in flames? You know, if the mess on my floor is going to be there for 3 days because I can't get to it, or if I have to recruit forces and ask my husband to help, then that's what I'm going to do. But you just have to set perimeters around your life in order to be present around the kids, or to be able to spend time when you need to, and then to be able to work when you have to get it in.
Oh, 100%. And better done than perfect. Like,
yeah,
get it done. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we always want everything to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, number one, if you can act, that's amazing. Number two, if you can act and just get it done and like let it be and fix it later, whatever, like go for it, 100%.
I think that's huge, especially with like people who are starting businesses and doing things online, is you can read over your posts like 50,000 times and be like, okay, does this sound all right? Okay, am I saying the right thing? Am I doing a call to action? Am I getting my point across? And is this a bad picture? Do I look stupid? Should I not do this? Get it all and just put it out there. As long as you are being like honest and true to yourself and like your mission, whatever that may be, like just do it. Like nobody, if people are going to judge you, then you need to move on and get rid of those people anyway. So I say better like let them judge you and do those things, so you just know early in your career who you need to cut off.
100%. And like that's the goal, right? To create the strongest like-minded tribe that you can, who will support you, who will be excited for you. Like, I have a lot of women on my team who are like, I'm scared to post this or that. And I'm like, let them go. Like, I would love it if 200 people in my group or friends with me on Facebook would just remove themselves, because then at least I know I'm talking to the people who want to hear me, who believe the same thing. And like, those are the people that I want to be surrounded by anyways. Which also makes me think, because I'm curious about this, I'm sure other women are, I do try to share and I do try to get personal in the most respectful, most private way as possible, and also without sounding super annoying, or like I will go through my post and be like, if I read this, would I be like, damn, this girl's annoying? Like that's kind of where my mind immediately wants to go because I'm critiquing myself. But do you find that like I know you have to share your story. You have to share your lifestyle for people, I think, to even feel any kind of impact, because otherwise, like we talked about earlier, it feels phony, it feels fake, it's not authentic. And then what are you even giving the world, right? So you're trying to do that, but do you ever find that, like, is it hard for you, or how do you tend to go about it?
As far as being like raw and honest in my posts
Mm-hmm.
and what I share, um, yes, it's hard. A lot of times you get like sweaty palms, sweaty armpits, you smell like you to just press the post button. Like when I first had Stella, and still I'm struggling with like diastasis recti. So if you're not familiar, it's a separation of your core muscles. Somebody in the fitness
Oh
industry
yeah.
that's pretty on her body and the way that I look, that's hard. Walking around with a mom pooch and just being like, do people know that I just had a baby? Like, those are the thoughts that run in my
Yeah.
head. So that was super hard for me to like find an avenue to share it without being like, because I am thinner and I have lost my baby weight, but like I still struggle in this area. So I didn't want to make it seem like I was showing off my body. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just had a baby. I needed it to be like, okay, so this is real and this is something I'm struggling with. And just know, like, again, the highlight reel, like my life is not
Right.
perfect. My body is not perfect. I'm still working in certain areas in order to help heal and get more comfortable and confident in this now mom bod that I have. So yeah, I had to like tiptoe and really do some soul searching in order to like be okay with sharing the fluff that I look at myself and I don't see, the same person, but like somebody who's looking at my message may be able to relate to. So I think that just shifting your mindset from, okay, so this is really hard for me to share, but wait, like, how am I going to impact somebody else's life that's struggling with the same thing?
Yes. And that's
Know that they're not alone.
right.
Like, that to me is like, ooh, that's like way more beneficial and like fills my heart more knowing that I'm like making an impact rather than like, oh, this girl's sharing what her body looks like now. Ugh,
Yeah.
you know?
That's a really good point. And, I might post something and I might get 50 likes, but I honestly try not to look at that, because it's like, let's say there's 50 likes in your head, you could easily be like, okay, I have 1,000 friends on here. That means, this many people just don't like it. And it's like, if you think about it that way, you would never share. And who cares? What if it just reaches one person? Like, one person had to hear that today. One person had to be reminded about that certain thing I just posted. Like, then it's worth it.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I've shared something and either gotten a private message or
Mhm.
just a comment underneath where somebody was like, I really needed to hear this today.
Yeah.
Like, thank, like, that's so, like, I have
So
goosebumps.
powerful.
Like,
Oh,
it's
the
so powerful.
best.
It's like, it's more than just like I'm posting 3 times a day on social media because that's what my business tells me that I need
Yes.
to do in order to stay relevant. No, it's like, okay, I have a mission, I have goals. I want to help as many people as possible. So like, what can I share today that's going to provide value for my audience and reach somebody that may need to hear my message today?
And that's where the goods at. Like, the goods are at. Like, when you can start to realize that. I even think about this when I jump on these calls. I'm just like, this is not about me. This is not about Lauryn Laszczak. This is about how I can serve the people watching. Like, that's the only way I can think about it where I don't get in my head about it. It's just more like, what am I doing? How am I serving? What value am I bringing to the world today? Because otherwise, there's no point in me doing this.
Right. Well, like, what's your mission? What's your end goal? What are you
Mm-hmm.
trying to achieve? Then those things should be your drivers.
And get real clear on those things, because when you want to
Yeah.
stop, when you want to be like, I quit, like, that's when that, it just reins it all in. Okay, there is a purpose. I am doing this for a reason. Just keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
Yes.
want to keep you forever. I do have one question, though, that I'm like, I would want to know this if I was watching. Because, obviously running 2 businesses, running a household, 2 kids, I find that I know how important it is to to be fit and stay healthy and have the energy to do all of these crazy things. But for me, I do have a long to-do list, and typically, like, either I get started in the morning and I don't want to stop, so I skip my morning yoga, or, you know, whatever my day is like, that is like the first thing for me that gets cut. Like, I end up not working out, and all of a sudden the week passes and I'm like, I didn't work out all week. So as a mom, what can I do if you have something like tactical that you're like, start here? What would you say?
So if you know, I mean, this could go for everyone. So when you eat better, you feel better. When you work out, you feel better. And when you look better overall, you feel better about yourself, right? Yes. So those things alone sometimes are not enough motivation, especially if you're trying to fit it all in and you're like, okay, so what can I cross off my list? And of course, the workout, the meal prep, whatever is like first to go. So for me, I had to make those things a non-negotiable, because if I know I don't get my workout in, I'm going to be a psycho. Or like, that's my therapy session. Like, I don't pay for therapy. I work out, and that's like my one time to just not think about anything and to focus on something that I know is going to better. So in thinking that like fitness is not just about like
you're starting to cut out a little bit on me. I'm hoping you're not cutting out on everybody else.
Can you hear me? Hi.
I can hear you, but you're cutting out just a little. Oh, there you are. Can you see me?
Okay. Yeah. Are we good?
Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So in making sure that those things are priority, and just knowing that, like, okay, so if I can fit in 10 minutes of activity, I'm going to feel way better about myself and about me getting my workout in than if I did nothing, or like sat for the whole day at my workplace and just got my work done. Like, even if you're taking the stairs instead of the elevator, if you're able to get up and walk around the house a few times in between messages or whatever that you have to do, just getting yourself active, if you can start there, then you can work up your way to a 20-minute workout or a 30-minute workout. Something that's completely benefited me is having the ability to do workouts from home and not have to go to the gym.
Yes.
So because as a fitness studio owner, like, I want people in studio, but I know that there's just some days you can't make the time for it. So having something at home that I can either wake up a half hour earlier or whatever it may be, like on my break or on my lunch, and be able to do that, then I feel way better knowing that, like, I got my therapy in, you know, and that you just feel better overall.
You really do. Like, when you're consistent, I always find, like, when I'm consistent, it's easy. But when I stop, like with anything else, then it's like getting back in is so hard. Like,
you have to start small though. Like, even if it's, like I said, if you can dedicate even 3 days a week where you're getting 10 minutes of activity, whatever that looks like, you know, to you, everybody has 10 extra minutes. Stop scrolling your Facebook feed and get down on the floor, do some planks, do some push-ups. Like, you don't even need equipment. Like, do something, because then you can increase once you start to realize, okay, what can I cut out of my day that is like not serving purpose, that I can introduce something like working out, or, making a salad instead of like running to fast food or whatever it may be.
Oh, good point. I do like the idea of like 10 minutes. Like, that for me, I can handle 10 minutes. Like, come on, you can do that.
Right. So if that's what it is, if 10 minutes is all you can do, then girl, get it. Like, just dedicate that 10 minutes, but just make it a non-negotiable. Whatever time that you can dedicate it. 5 minutes is better than 0.
Yeah.
Just do something to get active, get your heart rate up a little bit, because you're going to get more energy from it. You're going to feel better. You're going to start to feel better about yourself, because you're making the daily task or the daily habit in your life in order to, enrich your life in that way.
Yeah. That idea of non-negotiable things on your list, I'm just starting to try to implement that. Like, even I was just saying to my husband, I'm like, we have to have a night that we go out and it's non-negotiable. So you can't set a closing that evening. I can't make plans. I can't like put the girls in something. That has to be a non-negotiable. And obviously I should be adding like my fitness routine to that. But like I said, it's always like the first thing to go. So I'm kind of glad you reminded me, like that needs to be one of my non-negotiables.
Yes, absolutely. And think about it. Like there's so many workout programs out there that are 20, 15. I even have access to like a 10-minute workout every day. Like you can make time for whatever you want. It's just all about like, why is that important to you? And set
Right.
it in your calendar like a non-negotiable, like it's a freaking doctor's
Right.
appointment. Like I can't cancel on my doctor's because I'm going to get charged for it. So here's my workout. I can't
Good
cancel
point.
because I'm gonna get charged for it later, you know, by feeling like
Yeah.
crap.
I almost would have to think of it as like it's as non-negotiable as my daughter's dance recital. Like I
There you
cannot
go.
miss it. It's not just a $30 copay. I cannot miss it, or I won't be present for those kind of things. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, listen, I feel like I could talk to you for a million hours. Since we all are so pressed for time, I'm going to ask you my last question, which is basically just if you could sit down and write a letter to your former self and like magically send it back to yourself in your 20s, what advice would you give that girl?
I would say that you need to listen to your heart and what you're passionate about over what other people are saying to you. There's always going to be people in your life that maybe don't believe in what you're doing or want to support you, but you have to know in your heart what you're like destined to do, what you're passionate about, what you want in life. And if you have a clear plan of action in place and a clear vision of what you want your future to look like, as long as you believe in you and your ability to do things, like you can do anything. All the things that I mentioned, all the accolades, all of the things that I have in life now, I never would have been able to do without believing in myself. And I think a lot of times, especially as women, we are our worst critics, we're our hardest critics. And it's all about like having confidence, not cockiness, like having a confidence in you and just believing like, I know that I'm meant for more.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? And then figuring it out on the way.
Yeah.
Because as a young adolescent, I wanted so badly, you know, you want to fit in, you want to do the right thing, you want to go to college because your parents tell you like that's just what you do. You know, you graduate, you go to college, you get the degree. Now I'm not doing anything that used my college degree. Okay.
Amen, sister.
So, like it could have, you know, it taught me a lot of life
Yeah.
lessons that I am now because of the experience, but I'm not using my degree, so don't hang up on that. And then I'm not in a place where I thought I would be, and that's okay because I would much rather take this life than anything. But the main key piece that like always comes back to is like, do I truly believe I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing at this point in time? Is this providing meaning and purpose in my life? And if the answer is yes, then I'm doing the right thing. That's all you need to care about.
Oh, so good. So good. It's just, it's one of those magic things. You're like, if you could just know this, but you wouldn't get it even if you did, you know? But you are imparting that on your kids. So it's like, man, it's, how is Stella's life going to look, right? Like you're already starting her out with this mindset. So that's key. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it too. More people need to hear that.
Yes, yes.
Well,
Because I'm like a firm believer in the law of attraction. And if you truly believe something is destined to happen to you and you have faith and you have belief in self, like you'll get there 100%.
Thank you, Erin. This was fun.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everybody, for anybody who doesn't know, where can they find you?
On my Facebook, you can add me on Facebook, Erin Saba, and then also Instagram, I don't even know what my handle.
Well, we'll make sure we post it below.
Good. Yes. And you can find me on Instagram also. Insta stories is where it's at. I share a lot of my life there and I think I'm funny. So
I would have to agree. All right. Well, thank you. I really, really, really appreciate it. And anybody who's watching this, if you took something away from this, if you hear yourself in it, if you hear your sister, your friend, someone that you're like, they have to hear this, please share it. You know, please tag them in this. We all obviously believe the more that you can feel empowered, the more you empower women around you. So please help us do so by sharing this. And Erin, thank you again. I cannot wait to get my butt in there, or I like to say in there, but maybe we'll start with the 10 minutes.
Okay, we'll work together on that. I'll tell you how you can do it.
Good. All right. Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you guys too.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.